Hey there, I'm Mark Fidelman from SmartBlocks, co-founder with my very impressive co-founder partner, غسان, who's in Dubai, who's got a killer fire in the background. I thought my background was great. Basically our purpose is just to kind of educate you on SmartBlocks, answer some questions we hear all the time. We know if you're in real estate that blockchain might be foreign to most of you. You've heard of it, but how does it tie in with real estate? We're going to answer that question. And if you're in blockchain or crypto, how does tokenization, tokenized assets fit into your world? And we're going to do our best to answer. I mean, we've gotten hundreds of questions. We're going to try and narrow it down to like 15 for you. But before we do, Ghassan, why don't you give a brief intro on yourself, and then I'll do the same.
Thank you, Mike. Yeah, I tried my level best to have the nicest spot, actually, to be honest, to get this live with you. I'm happy finally with you, and I really thank you for the introduction. My name is Ghassan. Actually, I've been raised and born in UAE. I'm in the Middle East in Dubai. I spent all my life here in UAE, and it's a blessing because even my experiences, it was 20 years in the real estate. My own business being started in 2018 after long journey with as an employer and taking the hierarchies of the positions till I reached the fourth decision maker in one of the biggest developer in Abu Dhabi called Al Baraka Investment Group. Then I decided to jump out to open my own business called Itman Business Solution to have increase the revenue of the organization who's have the always gap between the top higher management and the operation team. So I came as a consultant in the middle to understand your business need and to write segmentation of your business model, and we will give them like a projection till we hit each month, and we'll get a commissioning on that. And after the pandemic, based to my experience in the real estate, I decided to jump on something in technology, where I came to know you, Mark, and the old story from your end. Yes.
All right. Well, I'll try to keep it briefer. But my history is real estate broker for 25 years, doing commercial and residential. Also got into crypto after Ethereum came out. I wasn't a big fan of Bitcoin at the time. I am now, but Ethereum is really what moved me into crypto. Did some ICOs. Which are internet coin offerings, but soon realized regulation's coming. We all see it, and why not get ahead of the curve? And that's when I got into tokenization, which we'll explain in a bit. It's just tokenized assets on the blockchain, and we'll explain why this is important, why it's revolutionary, and why Larry Fink of BlackRock says this is the future of finance. So I also have a marketing background and a SaaS background. So if you have a Venn diagram, it's like blockchain, it's real estate, and it's SaaS, which is exactly what SmartBlocks is, and we'll get into it in just a minute. But let's jump into some questions we get frequently. It's like the big one is, what is tokenized real estate? And I'm going to answer, and then Ghassan can jump in, and we'll do it this way because we both have unique perspectives and ways of explaining it to people. But tokenized real estate for me is just taking real estate as a whole, wrapping it in an SPV. I mean, there's many ways of doing this outside the United States, but in the United States, it's putting it into an SPV, tokenizing that SPV, and the SPV, which is a special purpose vehicle, its sole purpose is to own that real estate. So you can have 1,000 people that are investing in it if it's commercial, and 100 if it's residential. I know that sounds like a lot, but it's very hard to put all those people on title. But if you put them into an SPV, you can tokenize it. It basically becomes a stock for that piece of real estate. What we do is we turn that stock into a digital token, which represents the stock 1-to-1, and we put it on the blockchain where it could be bought, sold, traded, margined, collateralized for loans. And again, we'll get into this in just a second. But do you have anything to add to that, Ghassan?
Yeah, that's really interesting. And even I will talk to, from my perspective, my experience in real estate. I used to always dream how to make the middle scale of people to get involved in the real estate, because as you know, Mark, real estate, it's been always for the luxurious segmentation, which is the people has the very high income and the people who's carrying cash, and the middle scale of people, they get challenges to get in. So if I need to talk it in my perspective as a real estater, it's giving a solution to start open a new investor segmentation to the real estate market. And as you know, how it's big and huge.
Wonderful. All right, now let's go to one of the other most asked question. I'll let you start this time. So how does SmartBlocks facilitate tokenization? What do we do?
Exactly. The beauty of a SmartBlocks gives solution for the all segmentation in the real estate. It didn't fit only for investment understanding. It gives a solution for the developers in order to launch their projects and getting wider segmentation overseas, not in the same country. It can be an access to everyone and everyone in anywhere. Actually, this is the beauty of the blockchain. The investor, they will be involved and to understand in one click to be controlling their properties, to understand how is the income, how is the REITs, dividend yields, I mean, how the services is going, type of the investment. And the third point, which is the important for me, it gives a huge solution for the third party services like the facility management, property management, cleaning services, security services, and the others services related to the real estate. So we are become like enabler, like Airbnb or like the Uber in the cars.
Wonderful. And I'll just add to that, the platform itself will tokenize the real estate if you're on the development real estate side, and it will also facilitate the purchases of these fractionalized real estate, these tokens that represent real estate. So it does all that. We built it after Airbnb. It's a very Airbnb-like experience, except for you're not renting homes, you're actually buying fractions of commercial real estate, industrial real estate, or residential real estate, multifamily, or residences. If they're over $500,000, is probably at this point where you don't want to have anything less than that.
Part is, Mark, sorry for the interruption, is our backgrounds. Actually, the difference between me and you, this is where it's make the SmartBlocks is very unique, because the background is a huge for you in the field or the sector of cryptocurrency, tokenization, and the fintech in general word. And from my perspective is the operation and the back end, how we are controlling and managing the properties, and how get the fully efficiencies benefits of that operation.
Wonderful. All right, so I'm going to answer the next question. What are the primary benefits of investing in tokenized real estate for individual investors? Well, we feel like because it's on our platform and we do heavy due diligence, it's really de-risked for you. Our team, and usually third parties, depending on the country, are doing the evaluation of this and making sure it's as legit as it comes. There's no guarantees. Of course, you're taking a risk. The risk in real estate's a lot lower than some of the other investments that are out there. Also, you get the benefit of liquidity. These tokens that represent your interest in these properties can be bought, sold, traded, whatever you want. Returns are going to be slightly higher, if not 10 to 20% higher, because there's no middleman, there's not fees. You have direct ownership of that real estate. You can expect a little bit higher returns because of the efficiency and the cost effectiveness of doing it on a blockchain and doing it with tokenization. Plus, all the studies that we've read say that once something's tokenized, it's got a 10% higher value because it can be traded. You can get out of it. It's less risky if the property goes sideways, or a country that it's in is not doing well economically. You could just trade out of it into something else, which I know for a lot of you is a big pain. Anything to add, Ghassan?
No, let me just clarify this point, Mike, because we are on the other side in the Middle East, but it's still it's something new for us. Always late, but it's always beneficial actually when it came after the whole experience and all the trial and error. My question is, it's a little bit funny for me when somebody asking for the guarantees in the real estate, or in case about the backed assets in the tokenization,
Right.
and how really I'm hearing the humongous transaction and the unreal amounts it's investing in the cryptocurrency. And as I understand the cryptocurrency, there is nothing to be backed in assets or something like guaranteed your investment in the crypto. Correct me if I'm wrong, my friend.
Crypto guarantees, there's no such thing.
Yeah?
Yeah.
This is funny. Yeah. So
but even on the real estate side, there's no guarantees. But real estate over time historically has gone up, so it's a much safer investment, much more secure investment.
Because I'm not agree with that. In the real estate, there is a guarantee. Who said there is no guarantee? With your respect,
What
I'll tell you how. Yes,
Tell me
I'll
this
tell you how.
guarantee.
Yes, I'll tell you how. In the real estate, at least, my friend, in our solution, I'm saying, in our case solution in Smart Blocks, instead of putting your money actually, because these kind of people or people looking to invest in the real estate, they are looking always to liquidate their money in any time. If putting your money in the bank, with the inflation, you are losing the value of that amount. However, let's say as an example, as a $10 Ghassan, he just, instead of putting in the banks, I'm putting in the real estate. And let's say after 1 year, 2 years, 3 years, the amount value of that 10,000, it's become 15,000 in the real after the inflation. So once I'm liquidation, my percentage in that real estate after 2 years, I will gain 15,000. Actually, I'm not getting the 10,000. So where is the risk? It is, and I'm guaranteeing in that 2 years, anything it's generating that property, I'll get a dividend yield return as my percentage ownership in that property. So where is the risk actually? Why is not guaranteed with your respect? As a worst case scenario, the premises is there, the building is there, the property is there. So where is the not guaranteed?
Yeah, I mean, I'd say the not guarantee is if you're developing property, which you can do with smart blocks. So from the project has to be sound, and it's got to get built.
Okay.
Yeah, and
You mean the offer plan, you mean, right?
Yeah. I mean, if somebody's raising money to build property,
Okay, let me remind you, Mark, we are in Dubai. I don't know if you know. So there is nothing called in real estate because this is our main resource of income, the whole country, man. So this is not joke for us in Dubai. Everything is guaranteed because we are opening an escrow account for each property, my friend. And the money, it will not go to the developer or to the owners itself. It will be lying in their account in the escrow, which is the government is controlling that accounts. And the money, it will be start releasing to the developer based on their completion percentage in the floor. So again, I will not accept there is a risk in the real estate. Excuse me.
So I love how we're answering questions even before I'm asking them about escrow, but it's very timely. From a developer's perspective, what are the advantages of using smart blocks for tokenizing property? Ghassan, why don't you start and I'll chime in.
Yeah, I believe because the whole developers still they are having challenges in the market because the competition is very high. First of all, second of all, they need a lot of investment in order to get tracking funnel for their properties to be, I mean, the whole units to be sold. So the good part in the smart blocks is will offer a bulk deal of these developers, and we are helping them. The most important is the cash flow. I mean, the income of the money is guaranteed that is being collected in regards to have like solution for 20 years, 15 years payment plan, because multi-blocks people, they are paying the full amount based to their capacity and based to their budget. And this is where it gives more confidence and trust that the developer money, even if I said in Dubai because it's lying in the escrow account, but at least the developer, he's sure that the money is already there. So based in his achievement of completion, the percentage, he's getting his money on time. And this is very important as a cash flow for him to not get like a percentage interest in the banks and whatever institutional companies are feeding him. Secondly, we are tracking a huge funnel of people, like we will become overseas everywhere. He don't need to come to all the way to Dubai to get the plane and to get the risk and to introduce himself to wherever a company is there. Just he's lying in his bed in whatever, in US, in Russia, in Europe, in Africa, he gets the ownership fraction, I mean.
Yeah, I mean, so international fundraising is huge. I mean, most deal locally. Also on smart blocks, it's very easy to manage your cap table, which are all the investors in your project. You can communicate with them, you can pay them. It's all done on the platform, which makes it very easy. And then, I frequently hear that they love the fact that these these property tokens that are developed can be collateralized and then borrowed again. So let's say you don't raise all your money and you need more money. You don't have to go to the bank and beg for a high interest rate. You just take it to what are called decentralized finance markets, which are borrowing and lending platforms that will lend you money based on that property token that represents an interest in the property. And it's pretty quick too. And
I
it's
agree.
an exceptional thing that you can't do traditionally. Okay, so I'm going to move on to the next question. We got to keep things moving here. And by the way, in the description, there'll be a link to each of these questions, and then you can just jump right to it, so you don't have to watch this whole thing. So just to let you know. Okay, how is the regulatory environment for tokenized real estate in the U.S. and UAE? I'll start with the USA, and then we'll let Ghassan talk about the UAE. So, unfortunately, we have a SEC who's been very obstinate, who claims that most of the laws from 1940s apply to securities, and this is certainly a security. When you're tokenizing real estate, it is a security that you're selling because there's an expectation of profit. There's other reasons, but that alone is enough to be deemed a security. So we have to follow the laws here. Now, we don't have to fully bring it public, like bringing something up on NASDAQ. What you can do is follow regulatory exemptions, and there's a couple of main ones: Reg A, Reg D, and Reg S, and then there's even a Reg CF, which is for properties under $5 million. But these are exemptions to the law, and not to be too complicated. And I've got a blog post that I'll post in the notes here that deals with these. They restrict who you can sell these securities to based on their investor status. For example, a Reg D, you can advertise it, but you can only advertise it to people, and you can only accept money from people that are accredited investors in the US. And also, they've got to be KYC'd, which is know your customer, and they have to be AML, which is anti-money laundering. Those are 3 of the basic requirements. There's more, but that's the basics. Okay, we're not attorneys, so please work with your own attorney when you're going through this process. You're using exemptions here, and it's not very straightforward, but it's gone through and have been approved by the SEC. So this is a legitimate way of doing it. So Ghassan, how's it work in the UAE?
Actually, I will add on, like whatever you mentioned, it's already available in Dubai since long back. So it's the same copy paste what you mentioned, but the advantage is in Dubai, the leadership here of the UAE is really doing great in anything innovation in order to take each sector into another level, especially in the real estate. And they created like a specialty entity to help and to support this kind of innovation ideas, like Vera actually call it in Dubai. And we met them in the other day, and they need just to see the prototype, and the concept has really efficiencies working perfectly in order to get the whole legalization and documentation. And the good part is, Mike, as you know, what is SmartBlocks is unique than any other services available in the market today. Selling the secondary market, and this is the most important, that we going to convert the real estate market as a stock market, as a trading market, like the Forex and the stock and the cryptocurrency market as well.
All right, let's move on to the next one. Can you explain the process of buying and selling real estate tokens on the SmartBlocks exchange? I'll jump in on this one. So it's pretty simple. We like to say buying real estate is as simple as buying a book on Amazon, which is true. But you've got to be KYC to AML. We use a third party to do that. Everyone in the world needs to go through this process with us. You are buying securities. We need to know, and Dubai needs to know, we need to know that you're legitimate. You're not, money launderers, which I know none of you are. And we know who you are, purposes and other reasons. So that's number one. But once you are, and it doesn't take long, then you can invest in these tokenized properties in 4 clicks. Some of the due diligence has been done by us, some by the developer, and you should always double check and make sure that you're investing in something that you're comfortable with. Of course, I mean that's why in the U.S., if you're accredited, or outside the U.S., if you're not accredited, you got to do your due diligence. Always do your own due diligence. So the selling of the tokens won't be supported. I mean, you could post it on a bulletin board on our site, but the true secondary market is going to be coming in about a year. There's plenty of work being done on that now, and that's where it's like us operating like a stock market. We like to say we're going to become the Coinbase of real estate, which is true, but you need to have a ability to sell these tokens as well. So that's coming in about a year, which is perfect, because if you're a U.S. investor, you have to hold on to most of these tokens for a year anyway. outside the US, that doesn't apply. There are different rules and depending on what country you're in. Again, I'm not an attorney, so don't take anything legal to the bank. This is just my experience that I'm sharing. Ghassan, anything to add to that?
No, it's perfectly. This is exactly what I was planning to say. Just the only way that's to improve that Dubai is totally out of the earth, because we have something called an Emirates ID for any residential or any citizen in the UAE, and it's way easier than what you mentioned, Mark. It's only just one click. You will get all your information is linked with that card, so you will get the access, and that's one. It will be also available in the smart blocks because we got the pre-approval entity about that. So very soon it will be there. Sure.
What measures are in place to ensure security and transparency in transactions on smart blocks? Okay, so this is how it works, folks. If you're familiar with blockchain, you're familiar with crypto, you know that you see hacks all the time. You see people messing around with wallets. You see phishing attempts. I got some great news for you. That almost cannot be done with security tokens. Why? Because when property tokens or security tokens are on a blockchain and somebody takes them from you, hacks you, whatever, all you do is you tell the developer, hey, these have been hacked, cancel them and reissue them back to me. It's that simple. And on our platform, that can all be done. And the reason that we can do that is because we've whitelisted you through the KYC process. So we know who owns the legitimate tokens. The hacker can't even take the tokens unless it's taken or stolen into a KYC wallet. So we know who the hacker is. You'd be crazy to do it. So that's why it's always cancelable. The developer can just say, nope, I'm not going to let you have a piece of my property. You're out, and reissue them to you, the legitimate rightful owner of those tokens. So it's not like crypto, but the likelihood is extremely low. And the person holding the asset, the real estate developer, can always be informed that this is not a legitimate holder of the tokens and they can be canceled. Okay? I haven't seen a use case where you could trick a developer into saying, hey, I'm legitimate. I'm a legitimate holder of the shares in your property. I haven't seen it, but you never know.
You can say it's become like the digital title deed. In other words,
I mean, that's a great way of saying it. Yeah, you have title, and if somebody tries to put their name on your title, just cancel them out and put you back in. That's how it works.
That's it.
Let's move to how you list properties on smart blocks, and you're very knowledgeable about this. So can you walk people through how you list a property on smart blocks? The first step I'll just say is you go to smartblocks.xyz and you go to list your property. There's a link on there. Now this might change. We change the website all the time, so you might have to find it someplace else. But you're basically looking for list your property. Then you fill out a form, and then our team's notified. And what happens after that, Ghassan?
Let me, before the start, my background and Mark's background, we've been build this strategy to improve the journey of your experience in our platform. Then we will list it in your behalf, and you will get a notification on the clock, to be honest, either by email or either notification in the website. However, this is in the beta trial, actually, for testing the journey. And after that, based to the user experience, we will reach very soon to upload your details and your property in our list, either the same way for the developer, and you will be getting the verifying and approval second step.
Wow. Well said. I don't have anything to add to that. Okay, so how can we get this question a lot. How can tokenization impact the real estate market in terms of accessibility and inclusivity? I'll start with this. Okay, so as a small investor in real estate, I've bought commercial, I bought residential, but I've never participated in these $100 million mega projects that are paying a lot of money. You and I, most watching this, can't do that unless you run a fund or you're extremely wealthy, which congratulations. I love success stories, but most of us can't. And most of us in Africa or India, wherever you are in the world, this gives you an opportunity to participate in what the wealthiest and the biggest institutions are participating in. And if you're smart and if you follow our videos that we put out about how you build actual wealth, just by putting $1,000 a month into some of these projects for 10 years, I know that sounds like a long time, but if you're 20 years old and listening to this, you're 30 years old and listening to this, for 10 years, we've done all the calculations at an average return on real estate where you really reinvest all of the dividends and all of the sales of the properties back into whether it's smart blocks or any type of real estate, we just make it easier. You will have a $20,000 a month income, passive income in 10 years. That's not that long. It's a lot of investing, but this is what will happen. And it can be done as little as 7 if you get involved in the right projects. We're building wealth for the average person. There's nothing more beautiful than that. The wealth, there's a saying that the wealthier get wealthier, but now we're helping the little person. And I don't mean stature. I'm talking about wealth-wise, getting into becoming a big person in terms of wealth. Anything to add to that?
No, I wish that I met you before 10 years back because actually,
This
you're
platform
telling
wasn't out. It wasn't out though.
exactly. You're telling me it's not a bit long. I've been waiting for 20 years and nothing is there.
Well, you're still very young. You can start now,
I
right?
am. That's why we came up with this solution,
Right.
my friend.
Exactly right. You're right.
Yeah.
All right. Next question. This is perfectly up your alley. What future developments can we expect from Smart Blocks?
Our limit is the sky, Mike, because I believe with the add value we are trying to do in the communities in everywhere. Actually, this is the good part, is it, because we are not related to any nationality, we are not related to any color code, we are not related to any, let's say, religions. We care about the humanities. Whether you are Indian, whether you are US, you are an Arab, you are in Africa, you are in Europe, it's mean you have the rights to get a different resource of income and to scale your income in your life. You deserved a better lifestyle, actually. And this is our main core business in our website. So that's why when I said our dream is big, we will reach to have our own projects, fully projects handled and developed and controlled by the Smart Blocks in order to ensure to keep that segmentation is democratized and everybody has the rights to have a small piece of, let's say, ownership.
Yep. Okay. And let me just add to that. I want to say that we'll have secondary market trading, which is huge, 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 huge. And we'll have DeFi, which I already explained, are borrowing and lending of these tokens. And imagine if you're a developer in some part of the world and you have trouble getting access to funds. Of course, you have an international audience, but you also have access to these DeFi markets, which are just collateralizing those tokens and borrowing against them. And, you know, these markets like these property tokens because they're backed by something real. You know, they're doing it with crypto tokens that arguably are utility tokens. So it's not backed by much. No offense to anyone out there. And they lend on those. Imagine what you get with property tokens. It's much more secure. And they're much, there'll be bidding wars for the rights, I think, for the rights for you to borrow against it. And if you're in a country that's got low interest rates, you could borrow at 2% in some of these places, right? In the US, it's currently 7 or 8, but there's got to be countries around the world that are lower, and you now have access to them. So we're really bringing a global perspective to your local piece of real estate that's being invested in. Anything else to add?
Just to clarify, Mark, where I just end up, because when I said that everybody has the rights, we are trying to play the role as enablers, controlling the market of the real estate in everywhere, and to try to scale and secure that transaction in the market, actually.
I'm going to wrap it up here. And if we have to, we'll do another one of these. Again, look at the comments. We'll look at the description below, and I'll hyperlink to every question in here. So if you have more, if you watch this whole thing, congratulations, we want to talk to you. But you could just go question by question if you've got want to know answers on some of this. So this is our video FAQ, and appreciate you watching, folks.
It's our pleasure. Thank you. Looking forward.